Thank you for joining us for another Libertarian Christian Institute Roundtable. We call it Good News, Bad News. And I've got Norman, Matt, and Carrie with me. And I'm really concerned right now with Norman. Norman, everything okay?
Oh yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
I'll just trust you, man.
Good.
Fine.
Hey, okay.
Everything's
Yeah,
good.
if you're tuning in for the first time, there are many other episodes of this that we've done in short snippets and stuff. So you can find us at libertarianchristians.com, and you can also find us on YouTube. Matt, your background, I got to ask, you really want to reopen PA? You still have it back there. Is PA open yet? I live in PA too, so I just want to know the official word. Are we open?
I'll come by later today to unlock your doors for you, so that you can actually get out. Yeah. Really, here's the thing about Pennsylvania. It is a little bit of a microcosm in the country today. It's not New Mexico. Sorry, Carrie. And it's not Texas. Sorry, Norman. We don't care about those states. We only care about Pennsylvania.
That hurts. That hurts.
At least
Nobody
half
cares
of the
about
panel
New
does
Mexico.
That's the truth.
I am missing my green chilies. Where did those go?
They all went to Texas.
Ooh.
But in Pennsylvania, we have had a lot of standards and a lot of rules about where we're going to go when it comes to reopening the state. And those standards were met a long time ago, and those rules were met a long time ago, and nothing is truly open yet. We still kind of live under this cloud of oppression when it comes to restaurants and bars, going back to school. My sons are going back to school Monday. They're going back to a private school, but we just heard on Friday, just yesterday, that they're going to have to enforce more mask wearing and all this kind of jazz. And so, no, we're not reopened. So thanks for opening that wound for me, jerk.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you know, the most egregious, maybe egregious, I don't know. There's a lot of words we could use for this, but the most tragic aspect of this is that, you know, what's also being masked is their data. That's what's being masked as well, because they're not delivering the data. And even, yeah, of course, even like was it a freedom of a right to know inquiry? They pretty much rejected it because it wasn't.
Much so, yes.
Yeah, it was like, it's not
only
specific enough, because they were asking for all the exchanges between the health secretary and the governor.
There was actually multiple Freedom of Information Act requests made, and the medical Department of Health denied it, and the governor's office denied one as well. So, you know, whenever the governor said that he wanted to be very transparent and work with the people, if that was false from day one. So, and this is just more evidence of that. So sorry for that bad news, folks.
Yeah, well, here's the good news. The good news is, and Matt, you're going to have to fill in the details, but about a month ago in Pennsylvania, it was a unanimous vote in the House and the Senate to approve a law that limits some future governor from doing some of these things.
Well, actually, it was more than a month ago, but there was a bill that went through the House, House Resolution 836, went to the Senate, went back to the House, and all this kind of rigmarole back and forth. But they all agreed on, and now again, this is a divided House and Senate within the General Assembly, but they both agreed that we want to limit the governor's emergency declaration powers, what that actually means, and moving forward, we're going to end this current emergency declaration. And the governor said, meh. And then it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, oh, there's a procedural error here, so we're going to have to throw this out, basically tacitly giving the governor approval. And honestly, from there, it has been one bad decision, one bad thing after the next. So really just gave him the unofficial statist approval of all things.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of. There was the more recent one where the governor said, well, I'm not going to veto it because it's been since like 1976 since the Pennsylvania governors vetoed a unanimous bill. It had to do with like limiting the next governor's powers. It doesn't affect anything now, but like the next person won't be able to do it, or it like
you're talking about 323. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
323. I knew exactly what the number was until you reminded me.
Speaking of tagging on to something that you brought up there about revelations of data, something that wasn't even on our agenda for tonight, but I think is kind of an interesting thing, is that there was an incident. Well, not really an incident, but there was a move.
Get to it, Norman.
A month ago, about a month ago with regards to the way in which COVID data was going to be handled by a different agency. And as you probably are aware, the CDC had previously been kind of handling a lot of the data. And then suddenly the White House basically just unilaterally declared, yeah, we're going to do this with HHS from now on. And this had this kind of funny like spin out of control effect in the media, like, oh my gosh, this is all, everything's going down in flames now, because now the CDC is not going to have access to the funny thing was that the justification from the White House was about the efficiency at getting the data out. Now that sounds kind of fishy on its face, you might imagine, but here's the funny thing. Just in the last week, they've now reversed that. They've said it's now too difficult for us to handle the data. We're going to go back to letting the CDC handle it.
Oh my god.
Which is hilarious. And so despite so purportedly the whole reason for it was for the efficient analysis of the data. And it turns out that, White House cronies are not very good at it. So ironically enough.
Joke.
Imagine that.
Now,
if only we'd had a different president, I'm sure they would.
Oh yeah, that would have been everything would have been fine at that point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of revelations of data.
Whoa. Data.
Sorry. Doesn't he look like he's having a revelation?
I think is he seeing a big rock or something?
It's probably something of that nature. Yes.
Maybe
I'll stop controlling the narrative. Go ahead.
Well, he might be viewing the same thing that we are approaching the Earth. What is that, Carrie?
It's the Borg.
Oh.
the asteroid that is hurtling towards the Earth. What is it going to hit in November?
Yeah,
not like soon enough.
Not soon enough.
Yeah, can we just kind of go over Carrie's reaction to hearing there's a giant asteroid waiting to hit the Earth, Carrie?
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
The comment on the person who posted the article was, I'm pretty sure 2020 is trying to kill us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but it is funny to even to hear this now, that for some reason or another, the news breaking about, the day before the election, an asteroid might hit the Earth is like, right. You have to wonder whether this is trolling or not.
You're like, nice try, NASA.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about, you were talking, Norm, about the data being too much to handle, and there's another potential too much to handle situation going on with respect to the election, and maybe the asteroid will save us, maybe it won't, and that is the fact that some places go ahead
the asteroid's not going to kill us, but the UFO behind it will. So.
Yes. Right, with the lizard people in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So not everybody is going to be able to show up at the polls because they're afraid of UFOs and lizard people, or they're actually afraid of a virus that they're susceptible to, and they don't want to go to the polls, and they want to mail in their votes. That could be a big problem because apparently Trump has just bombed the U.S. Postal Service headquarters or something. I'm making that up.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's it. I mean, it might as
please be careful.
Metaphorically, yeah, I know. Gotta get away with certain things here.
YouTube just shut us down.
A giant T-Rex just ate the U.S. Postal Service.
Yes.
Judging by the T-shirt.
Judging by his T-shirt, seems legit.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Postal Service, founded in the Jurassic era. We probably should update it, right? So, as libertarians, we're all about privatizing the Postal Service. If you're a constitutional libertarian, I've heard that term thrown around, then I guess the Postal Service belongs here, whatever. But there is an issue going on, and that is like the competency of the U.S. Postal Service. And the one comment that I have is, it does seem a little odd that the U.S. Postal Service Workers Union has endorsed Biden, and they're going to be the ones handling the votes getting to the poll, wherever they get to be counted.
Yeah.
It does seem like a conflict of interest. Maybe somebody can shed light on how that's not such a big problem, and I don't want to go oh, they're going to just, not count any Republican votes, but it does seem a little odd. What do you guys think?
I would only be worried about postal workers interfering with the election if they had portable clothes steamers and flashlights holding up to each one of the mail-in ballots just to see, which one is that again? That's the one that we have to be worried about.
Yeah.
Well, I saw something, and I have no idea if this is true because I don't have a ballot. I haven't seen it myself, but what I saw was that somebody was saying that there are barcodes on the outside of the envelope, and they have the party that you're registered for in the barcode. And so you have a little D for Democrat and R for Republican.
It's like 4509D or 4508.
Something like that. Yeah. So, you know, I wouldn't be so worried about, you know, union people screwing around with it if there were no identifying markers on the outside of the envelopes. But if that's true, then
I mean, shouldn't we also though be concerned with the people who are the election workers themselves?
Well, I mean, but that's been a problem. Like that's been a problem here in New Mexico for years with elections.
It seems like an ancillary problem to, you know, a more like that's okay. This is a second order problem as opposed to a first order problem over here.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a big deal to me. I mean, the barcode thing, I mean, until we can legitimately confirm or deny that, I think we have to kind of withhold some judgment. It would seem like if that's a reality, then okay, there seems to be potential, but there are surely there are ways around this. And I don't know. And that's coming from I don't really think that voting matters all that much. You know? And you know,
just
oh my gosh.
Accuracy's sake. The AP reported a story where it said the ballot envelopes showing party affiliation were for the primaries only because the primaries are necessary for the different parties.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes
sense to me. Yeah. And I can see why people would get all up in arms because that makes completely understandable why they would.
Yeah.
But if this is different, then that shows. But I will say I have spoken to some legal eagles when it comes to mail-in voting, and they said that mail-in voting is actually not a problem for those who want a clean election. They only matter for those who actually want to make their vote, quote unquote, count, because almost over half of the mail-in voting does not get counted anyway, and they hardly go through it. If it's
so you mean in on the day of the election?
Correct. That they
get counted, they just get counted later.
They don't even, frankly, open it. Even the absentee ballots, as long as the polls don't get within a specific ratio.
So that's interesting.
That's interesting.
If the polling is very clearly separated for one candidate over another, they don't even worry about that stuff. So
simple math,
a million people,
if
you've got 1 million votes for Biden and 1,000 votes for Trump, and then you have 1,000 mail-in ballots, then that doesn't affect the outcome at all.
Which is reasonable. But then
I get what you mean.
But then people feel like, well, mine wasn't literally counted. Well, except it doesn't matter.
Actually,
what way.
Matt, that does speak to the libertarian, the radical libertarian critique of voting itself, which is that your vote really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter that much. No. Well, it's kind of just going off the basis of what the wave is doing, and you may or may not be a droplet in the ocean. But
so, do you think we're gonna see the election not called the night of or the next morning this year?
I gotta say, I don't
this is
think
2020. We don't
that,
have any idea.
We don't know what's going to happen, but frankly, the energy for Biden is probably just south of a old ladies bingo parlor. I mean, it is nil.
I mean, just look at settleforbiden.org. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's like
it's either like the most genius troll ever, like I mean that's A-level trolling. If it is, because it really comes off as like we are sincere. I mean, like, I do not understand it. Like it's
funny.
It's so on point in this regard that like if it's trolling, this is like, you know, S tier trolling at that point. I mean, this is like super, super amazing.
You mean this is greater than 4D chess?
They're playing like, you know, 9D string theory chess. I
mean, they're playing art of the deal chess. That's what they're playing.
So speaking of chess,
nobody knows about dimensions more than me.
I've been to the fifth dimension. It was weird.
It was
great.
weird.
Oh my
Everybody in the
God.
fifth dimension says I was great.
Oh.
all right,
The guys there, they like me so much.
Doug,
this is devolving.
This is when you jump in and take.
Yep, this is where I
Take charge, Doug.
I've tried 3 times. All right, we're gonna. Speaking of non sequiturs, let's talk about. So, Carrie, why would we want our children being educated by Google? I mean, most of us are educated by Google. I mean, come on, it's really just.
I learn from Google every day.
I used to teach people computers, and they're like, "How do you know so much?" And I was like, "I just know how to Google faster than you. I don't know anything."
Well, I have to say, so okay, for those of you who have not heard, Google has announced that they are doing some certified classes, like job training classes, that they are now going to actually allow to substitute for 4-year degrees. If you ever apply for Google. And so this is really interesting because this actual method of online job training has been, Google's like late to the game, actually, quite frankly, because you have Coursera, who's been doing this. MIT's been doing this. They've offered all of their courses online for free. And if you want certifications, you can pay $50 per. HubSpot does this. LinkedIn does this.
I believe that's how Norman got into MIT, but more on the back of cereal boxes. That's what
I cut them off very carefully, collected them, and sent them to the
right.
The
that's what they want to see there.
You were the 5th caller.
Yeah.
So what exactly are they?
I'm not as smart as you. That's all I have is just trying to derogatorily, humor. And sorry, go ahead.
I respect it.
He's laughing too. So what exactly is it? They're giving their courses that they use for training away for anybody?
Yeah. So basically you pay, well, they use the example of the course that they have, the IT course that they have on Coursera, which is $49. And so the idea is you take this online course and, you take their little quizzes and tests or whatever, their assessments. And when you've completed it, you get a certificate of completion. And so what they're saying is that because universities seem to be going away, which they've been going away since long before COVID, that this will be an opportunity to sort of replace job training, education, that sort of thing. So it's not intended to replace things like medicine or law or, those things that you actually do need.
Engineering.
Yeah. But, the idea,
a communications degree. Come on.
Yeah, no, the idea is that you can get these job skills just by taking these online courses and getting certified in it. And you don't necessarily have to have the required 4-year degree minimum in order to apply for a decent job. So, generally speaking, I think it's a great idea. Google has some issues as far as, what they consider to be truth or not. And they've been doing some censorship with that sort of thing. But other than that, this has been going on for several years. This is, but Carrie, it's an interesting development anyways.
What is the Skillshare fight song?
I don't know, but I hear their football team sucks.
Wow.
Got us there.
Well,
I'm a huge fan of the whole online learning platform deal.
Yeah.
And I've, as you know this, that MIT has open courseware. You can also get stuff from Harvard. There are tons and tons of opportunities out there. And even now, Coursera is terrific. And there's actually a lot of stuff, by the way. A great thing you can do is there are lots of certificate courses you can get right now just for free if you want to on Coursera. It's terrific. You just got to find a way to do that. But nonetheless, like there's so many things that you're able to do online that you're just, even 10 years ago were not possible.
Right.
That it's really just, it's it's really like, who's going to be the first company to really take this on in a scalable way.
Yeah.
That in a way that ultimately competes well with the university models that are out there.
Yeah.
Right now, even as it is, like Coursera is not quite there.
Yeah.
You can do a lot, but there's certain things you're not going to be able to do.
Well, one of the things that they're talking about, that Google is talking about, is that I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, ladies first.
Okay. One of the things that they're talking about is that companies can actually offer job training. Like, you pay for the job training, they give you a certificate, and then they either help you with job placement or offer you a job or whatnot. And they're even talking about having, low income scholarships, so that if you're low income and you need job training, you don't necessarily have to pay for it. So what I think is actually great about this model is, the leftists, the socialists have been clamoring for quote unquote free education. And the closest thing we have to a free market is the internet. And the internet is providing basically a free education or super cheap education there.
It is remarkable when you think about it.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I am floored by the way that you could do. I mean, other than even the lab requirements, you could do requirements, the lab experiences that I think are necessary in order to be a chemist per se.
Sure.
But like, you can do chemistry 1 and 2 on Coursera.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, while the social interaction with online learning is not necessarily the same, I'm sure will be alternatives that spring up, because frankly, running out the door at the last day of school is such a good feeling.
Give it to everyone every day.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the goal. But I mean, going on summer vacation from your online school, maybe that's an outdated model anyhow. But Doug,
I think socialization at public schools is highly overrated.
Highly overrated.
And really just at schools in general is highly overrated. Because and I tell you this on my own experience, because I was homeschooled and I seem to be fine. It's fine. It's fine. So,
Yep.
And so, like,
seem to be.
Seem to be. Just get into my head. You'll
that's when the camera cuts away to Jim Halpert going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my goodness. No, before we wrap up a little bit, the one thing that I don't hope we get back to normal with this whole endeavor is education. I think we need to think forward and realize we can do better, we can do different. And I think this is forcing us to do it. I kind of hope we don't go back to we go back to all in-person classes. And I don't like that. Matt's kids are going to in-person, and, we're doing that because that's sort of what is best for our families, but that's not always best for every learner. It's also not what is best for, every teacher, every school, but it's a huge ship to turn. So.
Yeah.
Well, people going back to school, but they are getting their last ditch efforts into vacation here. Doug.
Yes.
Yes.
Doug, you did some kind of vacation recently.
Yeah,
right?
Something I never.
Doug, you have gone out there. You've gone out there into this new world. Some would call it brave. What did you do?
Wow, that's some foreshadowing.
We can't go there.
But we can go elsewhere. Doug,
that was a pretty
go, Doug.
Yeah, we can go to Hershey Park. Hershey Park was open. So in March, we our plans for vacation were like we didn't really have any, but we did have a plan to go on. We did have okay, we're gonna go on vacation. Well, then COVID happened, shutdowns happened, and it's we're not gonna go on vacation. We don't know what we're gonna do. Well, maybe we'll just go camping, which is what we did last year anyway. So this is kind of like our new family thing, is to go camping in tents. And we take our kids.
It is intense.
It's intense. Oh man. That was too easy.
Sorry, I just got that.
So anyway, so we went camping.
We also went when the girl laughs. Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
And the girl again.
Don't worry, you'll progress to
by the end of the episode.
By the end of the episode, you'll be good.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know where I was. I was at Hershey Park. So we went
Hershey
camping
Park.
and we camped near Hershey Park. And one of the things that I was really looking forward to is figuring out, like, what are they doing in Hershey Park? It's a pretty crowded place. We went on a Sunday and a Monday. And so we were on there on a weekend and we were there on a weekday. So we went there and they have a water park as well. It kind of go in and out. It's not like separate places. And so we went there and it was really, really nice to ride roller coasters in like 15-minute rides, like, or 15-minute line wait. So there was like a lot fewer people. Everybody, of course, was wearing masks. They did have people enforcing it, which we weren't sure how that was going to happen. And halfway through the first day, we went to the water park, and you know how they have those wave pools where you can just like go hang out. Well, the wave pool at Hershey Park is like a ride where there's a line and there's like the turnstile. You go in, and then like they kind of meter who goes in there. And I don't think I haven't been there. I wasn't there for like 16 years, so I don't know what it was like last year or pre-COVID, but I'm pretty sure it's the same concept because it was just, you know, a ride. So anyway, we're in there, and when you're in a water park, you didn't have to wear a mask. They also weren't enforcing social distancing. So we're standing there in line, you know, the queue is going like this, right? And like, we're not that far away from people. We're not wearing masks. We're going into this big wave pool, and I'm sitting there thinking, and we're like on the waves, right? Going up and down, talking to my wife. I'm like, if this is unsafe, this just feels weird that, like, you know, that we shouldn't be out in close proximity to people. And she says, whoever owns this place is close to the governor. That just has to be the only explanation, is that whoever's in charge of this.
Hold on, I'm going to do a quick reenaction. Hold on. What was it? Somebody's close to the governor.
Yes. Oh, sorry. That governor better hope I don't get close to him. So,
hey, just real quick.
Yeah.
Who had to cancel vacation plans this year because of COVID?
I didn't get to go to Australia because of COVID.
I didn't get to go to Vietnam.
All the ladies, such as yourself, should go to Australia at least once.
Well, if they continue down the path that they're going, I'll never see Australia. But
don't worry. When you become a woman, you realize Australia is overrated. So,
note to self.
Yeah. So the worst of it was I was sitting there in the wave pool, and I realized that all the parking lots, all the license plates in the parking lot were from New York.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Okay. I should be a little more worried, but apparently I'm fine.
That's what I want to be. That's what I want to say. Guy from New York, like, this is fun, right? Huh?
And then we bump into each other, and he's like, "Oh yeah, oh, sorry, dude."
Is that what
fun? Yeah, this is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so vacationing during COVID, like, I wish I'd pulled up the graphic because I don't have it, but it's like, it says vacationing during COVID, and it had a map of the United States, and it had the Minesweeper, you know, thing. It's like, well, where can we go? Because it was actually really difficult to plan things. My wife did all of the planning, and she would come to me and she's like, all right, we could do this, we could go there, we could do it. And she's like, but then they're closed, and then these people are doing this limitation and that limit, and it's just like, ugh. So it was like crazy. So it really was kind of difficult to plan.
I do like it. I want to be in the household of the Stewarts when you're just like, fine, we're going camping. That's it.
Well, yeah, right. Well, you're no stranger to being in our household. You can come over anytime. Actually, I'm sorry, you do come over anytime.
I just want to see a fight between you and your wife. Your wife seems like the most even-keeled person ever in the world, and I don't ever see her getting into an argument whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it really goes like this. I'm all riled up about some whatever issue, and she's like, when you're calmed down, we'll talk about it. That's pretty much that's what you're cool. Yeah. And it's worked. I'm, you know,
I feel like Carrie would be a very good sparring partner verbally.
Yeah, well, we don't have time for it, but we could probably have a debate over, I don't know, maybe like whether or not Christian can parent, or the Christians, whether or not we can parent like libertarians. Or, you know, something like that.
Or patriarchalism.
Yeah.
Yes, let's debate that, Matthew.
Let's do that one.
That one. That sounds like I'll take the patriarchy for 500.
I'm sorry,
that's an inside joke, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. we're gonna continue the inside jokes in another episode or off camera or whatever. So we're not gonna drag this out too much here, just in case an asteroid is coming and we want to get this out.
Yeah, just remember,
I need to get dressed for that. By the way.
Yes.
The end of the world.
The end of the world meeting.
That's right.
Where we're all holding up our smartphones.
Skirt. You're okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We are not going to keep rambling on with our inside jokes. We will be back next time.